Ladies and gentlemen, it's my singular honor to welcome each and every one of you to yet another press briefing at the International Secretariat Complex of the All Progressives Grand Alliance. Just like the anchor did mention, there was an interesting development on the leadership issue which has necessitated our convening this press conference again. I recall that I was with you guys last week and I did make it very clear that the media remains my greatest partner in my journey as the national chairman of Apga. And as far as I am still in the saddle of leadership of Apga, this relationship will continue. We'll do everything possible within our might to foster this relationship for the next 3 years. And so I welcome each and every one of you, members of the National Working Committee of Apga here present, distinguished members, gentlemen of the press. Please welcome. Earlier this morning, you will recall that following the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which was delivered on the 28th day of June 2024, wherein the Court of Appeal, presided over by an erudite Justice of the Court of Appeal, Honorable Justice Chief Victor Ike Oye, had affirmed the judgment of the Buhari High Court, which had one or two implications about the leadership of Apga. In the same judgment of the Buhari High Court, which was affirmed by the Court of Appeal, the court held that by the interpretation or the correct interpretation of the Supreme Court corrected judgment, which the Supreme Court corrected on the 24th day of March 2023, that the former national chairman, Chief Dr. Victor Ike Oye, had no right to parade himself or to act as a national chairman of Apga following that corrected judgment. Now, we did say that if you scrutinize that judgment, it is very clear that while the court made far-reaching pronouncement affecting the then tenure of the former national chairman, the court did not say anything about Chief Edozie Njoku. The court never granted any of the relief sought by the plaintiffs in that suit, which was to validate their purported tenure, which emerged at a phantom convention which they allegedly held in Owerri. And then we try as much as possible to bring out certain issues. Now, one fundamental thing that happened in this matter, right from the High Court to the Court of Appeal, is the fact that the political party whose leadership was being questioned was never joined. If you look at the parties on record at the FCT High Court, you will notice the conspicuous absence of the All Progressives Grand Alliance as a party on record in the matter. And the Supreme Court has laid this issue to rest in the plethora of authorities, where the Supreme Court has said that you cannot shave a man's head in his absence. Incidentally, most of these cases has emanated from leadership tussle in Apga, because I did say the last time that I was with you guys here that Apga has gone through a checkered judicial journey. It's not today, and yet this is just yet another phase in our checkered history, and as much as possible in all of them from A to Z, we will always emerge victorious and will emerge stronger. And I don't have any doubt that this is yet another phase which will come and pass, and then we'll just hope for the best for the party. And so the point I'm making was the fact that both the proceedings at the FCT High Court and at the Court of Appeal, Apga was never a party. And that's what informed my decision to file an appeal against the judgment of the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. Because I did mention that while both the FCT High Court and the Court of Appeal did not say anything about Edozie Njoku's phantom tenure as the national chairman of Apga, INEC, purporting to rely on the same judgment, accorded recognition to a stranger and an impostor who has absolutely no business with Apga by saying that he was the national chairman of Apga. And they did that without any official communication to us, which for me was wrong. And it sent the wrong signal, because it is only fair that when INEC as a responsible institution takes certain decisions, it should communicate the leadership of the party that he has always related with. And INEC did that by changing, just on their own, unilaterally change the officers of the party as clearly depicted on its website. And then I don't know whether I should use the word mischievously inserted beside it court order, and which presupposes that there was a court order which informed their decision. and we have consistently pleaded with the Commission as responsible individuals, law-abiding citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that INEC should do well to show us the said court order which informed their decision. Until date, we are yet to be furnished with the court order. Now, I took 2 steps. The first one was to challenge the decision of INEC to recognize Edozie Njoku via a suit which I filed at the Federal High Court in Abuja here, where we challenged INEC to tell us the said court order which informed their decision to recognize Edozie Njoku as the national chairman of Apga. And then secondly, we filed an application for leave to appeal, because under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, appeal shall lie at the instance of a party interested. That is, if you are not a party at the proceedings, then you can only appeal as a party interested with the leave of either the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court. And that was what transpired today. Sadly, the same persons or the same group of people who claim that the Supreme Court, by its corrected judgment, had affirmed the Owerri Convention, now turned around to deny us access to the Supreme Court. What an irony. Because I think if anything should be done, they should be more than happy and more than excited that the matter is going back to the Supreme Court, so that the Supreme Court can put a final rest to the issues bedeviling the leadership of the party. But sadly, they did everything possible through every spanner in the wheel, filed various counter affidavits, raised so many issues. Thank God, today, the Justice of the Court of Appeal, led by a very distinguished and one of the finest that we have on the bench, Honorable Justice Obaseki Adejumo, sat today and decided in the court's wisdom that Apga and myself, we have arguable grounds of appeal, and we have shown sufficient interest in the subject matter, which is the judgment of the Court of Appeal, to warrant our being granted leave to appeal. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to the glory of God, Apga and myself, who were granted leave to appeal. And in coming to this conclusion, the learned and erudite Honorable Justice Mohammed Danjuma did state that it is very apparent that from the judgment of the Court of Appeal, that the issues border on the national chairmanship or the leadership of Apga, and then it's really hard to fathom how the same political party whose leadership was in question was excluded from the proceedings at both the FCT High Court and at the Court of Appeal. And as such, that there is no way the issues bordering on the leadership of the party can be discussed or effectively determined without joining the party. And based on that, the Court of Appeal granted us leave to appeal. Once again, I've always restated my immense and unflinching belief and faith in the judiciary. Incidentally, I'm a legal practitioner, and I practice, not just a legal practitioner at that. I'm a core advocate, and I've always had belief in the judiciary. That judiciary will always come true. It's not just to say that the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. Like I said earlier on, Apga has had a checkered history, and the greatest partner we've had in our belief to continue as a political party and to continue to advocate for the rights of Nigerians in all ramifications is because of our unflinching belief in the judiciary. In 2009, we went through this process between Chief Victor Ike Oye, the then national chairman of Apga, and Chief Victor Ike Oye. At the end of the day, the judiciary came to our rescue and restated the current leadership of the party. The same thing happened again in 2013 between Chief Victor Ike and Chief Mazi Oku. The judiciary came to our rescue and restated the correct position of the leadership of the party. It happened again in 2017 and Chief Victor Oye. The judiciary came to our rescue. It happened again in 2021 between this Edozie Njoku and his co-travelers, one Judo Keke and Alaji Garba Ali on one side. And then judiciary came to our rescue yet again and affirmed the leadership of the party. And as a political party, we remain ever committed and grateful to the Nigerian judiciary. And we urge them, especially now that the judiciary has transited under another leadership led by the very erudite Honorable Justice Ike Oye, who assumed office just about 2 weeks ago as the second ever female CJN. We've sent our congratulatory message to her, and we tell her and we urge her, knowing her history as a very upright person, a woman of integrity, and we know that the much needed reform in the judiciary that she's going to bring it about. It is important that we state again for the record that the issue of Apga leadership has been laid to rest a long time ago by the Court of Appeal. And as we said, there are 3 subsisting Court of Appeal judgments on Apga leadership. One of them was the one I instituted in my capacity then as a National Legal Advisor. And I sued Chief Edozie Njoku. And that afforded the court the opportunity to lay to rest once and for all the issue of which of the 2 national conventions or which of the 2 factional conventions, if I may use the word the court used, is a valid convention conducted by Apga. And is on record that on the 9th day of September 2021, the Court of Appeal, headed by the President of the Court of Appeal herself, Honorable Justice Dominic Nelson, in a judgment, unanimous judgment, declared that the only valid national convention that Apga conducted in 2019 was a convention held in Oka. It is on record that the Court of Appeal on the 10th day of August 2021, in a panel presided by Honorable Justice Haruna Simon Samani, declared that at the time Edozie Njoku and his cohort, because I said earlier on that he is a master in fighting proxy wars. In 2020, he instituted an action at the Federal High Court, Bauchi, and in that action he did not join Oye, because what he wanted to do was to surreptitiously obtain judgment behind our back and then go on to enforce it. But luckily enough, the God of Apga came through for us and we were made aware of the pendency of that proceeding. And it was because that matter was pending at the Federal High Court, that was why he did not file the suit in Jigawa. Rather, he instructed his proxies to probably incident a phantom tussle between him and them. You know, his ultimate role was that at the end of the day, he will not emerge at the Court of Appeal and say, no, it is my office that was in contention and I was not joined. It was just script all along. Every story that they've told about an illegal or a phantom or a convention has always been mere fabrication. And we've challenged Edozie Njoku. If you say that there was an Owerri convention, then show us the notice which you issued to INEC or which Apga issued to INEC. It is on record that between 2015 to 2019 that the national chairman of Apga was Chief Victor Oye. And if you admit that Chief Oye was the national chairman between 2015 to 2019, then impliedly it was Oye that was duty bound to issue notice of convention to INEC. And Oye has produced the notice which he gave to INEC. So who authorized the convening of any convention in Owerri? Who were the delegates that attended that convention? Have we been able to see any report of that convention? Have we even been able to see any video or live picture of any such convention? And I have made bold to say that it will be the greatest judicial haste in the history of this country for anything to come out of something that never held. Of course, it's very, 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 very distinct that in the authority of McCoy and USC, that you cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand. There was nothing like an Owerri convention. And just like the former national chairman, Dr. Victor Ike Oye, has always maintained, Chief Edozie Njoku does not exist. He is not a member of the party. It is on record. Yes, he did say that one of the interviews I watched on the live TV where he said he was a pioneer Southeast Vice Chairman. Yes. And like I said, he failed to tell Nigerians when he left the party on his own volition, which was in 2007. And from 2007 till date, there is no record anywhere, even in his native ward, that he is a member of the party. And so all these fabrications, you know, one thing about life is that, you know, they say you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. And it is very important that we begin to tell Nigerians the true positions of these impostors and what exactly is their problem. Yesterday, I think, gentlemen of the press, we might have been privy to a purported press conference by one of them. Of course, they have, you know, he has many proxies or co-travelers who are equally with him in this judicial haste. One Chief Victor Ike Oye, who claimed to be the, yes, of course, he was the pioneer national chairman of the party. It is on record, and it's an honor that is deserving of him if actually his conduct is deserving of any recognition by the party. Chief Oye is on record, was expelled from Apga sometime in 2004-2005 when he tried to frustrate the case filed or instituted by the then governorship candidate of Apga in Anambra, Mr. Peter Obi, who later by God's grace went on to become the first governor elected on the platform of Apga. He tried to sabotage the case we had at the tribunal, and that led to his expulsion by the National Executive Committee of the party there. And this expulsion, he challenged it up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court affirmed his expulsion. So at what point did he return to the party? It is on record that thereafter he went on to form another political party, which he ended up liquidating. Today, the same political party has been deregistered, and he feels the only way he can get relevance is to come to begin to drag leadership in Apga. As far as we are concerned, these people, we know what their gimmicks are, we know what their game is. They believe that one of the things they can do is that because Apga is a party that is in the saddle of leadership in Anambra State, that maybe they can blackmail the governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Soludo, CFR, probably to begin to illegally part ways with monies or funds belonging to the state. It is on record that Professor Charles Soludo is not someone who is given to unnecessary shenanigans or gimmicks. He's not someone who is going to divert anything concerning public funds to private pockets. And that is their only issue. And it is good a thing that will begin to tell Nigerians the real motive of these people, these enemies of Apga, because their interest is simply to bury the party. Chief Oye is on record that after the corrected judgment of the Supreme Court, after the Supreme Court delivered its ruling on the 24th of March, they instituted an action at the Federal High Court where they claimed that by the corrected Supreme Court judgment, which had recognized Edozie Njoku as national chairman, that he was Edozie who was entitled to nominate the candidates of the party, he should come out and tell Nigerians what was the decision of the Federal High Court in that matter. It is on record that another very brilliant and erudite justice, Honorable Justice James Omotosho, delivered a judgment on the 28th day of March 2023, restating the true interpretation of the Supreme Court corrected judgment, where he stated that the Supreme Court, in its conclusion, affirmed the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which recognized Chief Victor Ike as the national chairman of Apga. And he stated emphatically that there is nowhere the Supreme Court recognized Edozie Njoku as the national chairman of Apga, and as such, he had no right to act or even nominate candidates on behalf of the party. They challenged this case, the judgment of the Federal High Court, up to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal affirmed the decision of the Federal High Court, Justice Omotosho. Is he not aware? So what they do, like I said earlier on, they are experts in forum shopping. Sadly, it is this same forum shopping that the Supreme Court severely reprimanded them for in the judgment delivered on the 14th of October 2021, where the erudite Honorable Justice Mary Peter Oye stated that the plaintiffs plaintiffs in Jigawa embarked on forum shopping when they traveled all the way from Anambra State to Jigawa to validate an illegal convention. So at what point did the Supreme Court affirm him? Gentlemen, the truth, like I said, will always come to light. And then I thank you, each and every one of you. And like I said earlier on, because I've been, received torrents of calls about the gimmicks of Chief Victor Ike Oye. We know who their sponsors are. There is one particular man, he's a serial contestant in Anambra State. He's vying for Senate, he lost woefully. He's vying for Federal House, he lost woefully. He's vying for governors, for the seat of the governor of the state, he lost woefully. In fact, got it from the grapevine that following the Court of Appeal judgment delivered on the 28th day of June 2024, that he was shopping for a court that will validate his purported candidacy as a governorship candidate in 2021. And we are waiting for him. We are waiting for him. 2021. Because the point he's making is that Edozie Njoku nominated him as a governorship candidate in 2021. and that the Court of Appeal judgment has now set aside all the conventions and congresses and primaries conducted by Oye. Therefore, that he had the right to inherit the seat of the governorship of Anambra. We say we are waiting for him. Let them come. We know their gimmicks, and we want Nigerians to know the truth. These people do not mean well for the good people of Anambra State. Apga has recorded tremendous progress in Anambra State from 2006 when Apga assumed the saddle of leadership in Anambra till date. And this will make it the 18th year. And for every governor we've had, it has always been trajectory and accelerated development. And we're not going to go back to darkness. These men represent rebels and forces of darkness that the party has long outlived. As far as we are concerned, Apga as a political party is strong, firm, and committed under my leadership. We've consistently maintained that the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court never pronounced Edozie Njoku as national chairman of Apga. And then in law, it could not have even been possible for the Supreme Court to pronounce Edozie Njoku as national chairman or to comment or validate the Owerri Convention, which had long been invalidated by the Court of Appeal. And sadly for him, the same judgment in which he was the appellant that was delivered by Honorable Justice Sanke, now Justice of the Supreme Court, he did not challenge it on appeal. And that judgment is still subsisting. So the only way he can resurrect anything about the Owerri Convention is for him to go back and appeal the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which was delivered on the 9th day of September 2021. Sadly, he cannot even do that because the judgment of the Court of Appeal canon has already been affirmed by the Supreme Court on the 14th of October 2021, and that laid to rest everything concerning Apga leadership. And so, like I said earlier on, they are going to come to you with various tantrums. We will always speak the truth. If you want all these judgments, we'll have them. They are judgments of superior courts of record, subsisting judgments. And like they always claim that the Supreme Court returned Apga back to status quo. The truth is simple. Who was the national chairman before the legal judgment was procured from the Jigawa State High Court? That answers the question. It is on record that INEC attended and monitored the convention of Apga, which was held in Awka, where Oye was returned for a second term in office. It is on record. And INEC had continued to relate with Oye as a national chairman from 2019 till 2023 when he exited office and handed over. And so that has never been an issue. And finally, we want to use this medium once again to call on the Independent National Electoral Commission as a body created under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. For me, I have many friends in INEC, and I believe that we are partners in deepening democracy in Nigeria. The only reasonable thing for INEC to do now is to take heed. The Supreme Court, interestingly, like I said during the last conversation I had with you, had come out to clarify its position on the corrected judgment. Replied Edozie Njoku's counsel, who had sought to cite the chairman of INEC for contempt, and told them emphatically that the Supreme Court never pronounced Edozie Njoku national chairman. That what the Supreme Court said was that the issue who should be the national chairman of Apga remained an internal affair of a political party, or remained the internal confines of Apga, which is not justiciable. And in making or reaching this decision, which is purely on jurisdiction, the Supreme Court could not have pronounced Edozie Njoku as the national chairman of Apga. More so, when a Court of Appeal in a judgment had validly stated that the only convention conducted by Apga in 2019 was a convention which was held in Anambra State. So the issue of Edozie Njoku being the national chairman of Apga has never arisen. INEC will recognize the fact that probably because of one pending court issue or the other, especially about an unlawful harassment of the INEC chairman for alleged contempt by the FCT High Court in Buhari, yes, INEC has done what is expedient to save the head of the chairman. But now, since the truth has come to light, since they've now become aware of the Supreme Court position clarifying its corrected judgment, the honorable thing for INEC to do now is to convene a meeting and return the leadership of the party, which was elected or which consists of the National Working Committee of the party elected at a convention held in Oka on the 31st day of May 2023. INEC monitored that convention. It is on record, led by an erudite national commissioner then, by Sir Festus Okoye, one of the finest we've had from INEC in the country. He led the team of INEC officials that attended that convention. So INEC knows the truth, and the thing, or the only reasonable thing, or an honorable thing for INEC to do now, is to stick with the truth and return the leadership of the party that they made through a valid national convention. It is equally on record that the issues, both judgment and all these proceedings in various courts, bordered on the particular tenor between 23. The political party in question, which is All Progressive Grand Alliance, has since moved on, has conducted a convention, and has elected new set of national officers. Everything about whatever happened between 2019 and 2023 should have been dead and buried. And that is the simple truth, and INEC knows the truth. So we are calling on them again, we are urging them, because there are elections going on in the country, that INEC needs to, as soon as possible, revisit their decision and return the correct leadership of the party. We understand that these, I don't want to like using derogatory words on live TV or on TV, but then that's what it is. We don't want to call them criminals, but well, I think that will sound rather harsh, so I will not want to use that word. They've been moving from one state to the other, trying to scuttle the leadership of the party in various states. And we say that they do not have such rights. These were officers of the party elected elected at a valid congresses conducted across the country. And so nobody, and I repeat, nobody has the right to dissolve any leadership of the party in any ward, in any local government, in any state, or even at the national. Because the Supreme Court has said a long time ago that the only way or the only means executives or officers of the party can emerge is through valid congresses and convention. The Supreme Court stated in PDP and Sheriff that courts do not coronate leadership or officials of the party. So I thank you once more for coming here and for continuing to be very great partners in deepening democracy and your quest to know the truth. I recognize the fact that today's press conference or press or interactive session actually came at a very short notice. So I commend your sacrifice. I know you guys would have been elsewhere now, but because of your burning quest for justice, because of your job quest to know the truth and to keep Nigerians informed, that's why you're here. And for us in Apga, we don't take it lightly, we don't take it for granted. So we thank you immensely, and I think this will be the end of my briefing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the National Chairman of Apga, the legal luminary. You have thrown more light on the issues, and I think the issues have been well captured in the speech. All angles of it have been taken care of. I do not think there are questions to answer. And the media said no questions for it. We have really handled it properly. And thank everyone for being here. All we want is
I don't know why it seems like you're the person trying to shut them out.
No, I'm looking at them. And what is there for?
In fact, most times, these enemies of democracy do is that they wait. They always get most of these judgments when the court is proceeding on vacation. It happened in 2017, it happened in 2021. In fact, in 2017, between Oye and Abbas, it was a vacation panel of the Court of Appeal headed by the Honorable Justice Aboki that heard and determined the appeal, set aside the judgment on the Enugu State High Court. In 2021, it was another special panel, headed by Honorable Justice Samani, that sat during vacation on the 10th of August, delivered the judgment, that set aside the very frivolous judgment that they obtained from the Jigawa State High Court. And so, as a political party, I say it without any fear of equivocal to the judiciary. And the same thing that has happened now. So we understand the fact that they are on vacation, or they are meant to be on vacation, but they've cut short their vacation to attend to us. So hopefully, before, maybe by now, I believe that the certified true copies would have been out. It is made available to you. Thank you very much. And then another point that I needed to address, because I read somewhere on social media where some persons were making very, very, very funny claim that the Court of Appeal today refused our application for stay of execution, which meant that they have recognized Njoku to continue to act as national chairman. Very, very laughable. Why I say it's laughable is that it appears that these guys are just mischievous. You know, their penchant for mischief knows no bounds. It is on record in the application I filed. The only relief I sought from this Court of Appeal was for leave to appeal to the Supreme Court as an interested party. It is on record. It's on record. Secondly, it was Oye whose prayer for leave contained an extra prayer for stay of execution. And the question is, what was the orders that Oye was seeking to stay? I don't know if you understand. What was the order which Oye was seeking to stay? The order Oye was seeking to stay was the ruling or finding of the Court of Appeal that he, Oye, had no right to act as national chairman following the judgment of the Supreme Court. We have stated emphatically that nowhere in the entire judgment of the Court of Appeal delivered on 28th of June 2024 did the Court of Appeal say that Edozie Njoku was the national chairman of Apga. So how can we apply to stay an order which the Court of Appeal never made? We've challenged them. We have the Court of Appeal judgment. If you read the judgment, read the orders made by the FCT High Court, which was affirmed on appeal by the Court of Appeal, you will see that everything the court did started and ended with Oye. Court said Oye had no right to act as national chairman. Oye had no right to parade himself. Oye had no right to conduct congresses. Oye had no right to do this. Oye had no right to do that. The court never said anything about Njoku. Incidentally, in one of the reliefs they sought, they asked the trial court to make a pronouncement that by the Court of Appeal, by the corrected Supreme Court judgment, that their tenure as national officers of the party was still up and running. The court declined this request. So how can we file an application to stay execution of an order that the Court of Appeal never made? We are going to have the judgment of the Court of Appeal. So it's just they have a litany of propaganda lined up just to destabilize the party. And not just to destabilize the party, to equally destabilize the progress Anambra State have consistently made in the past 2 years or so under Governor Charles Soludo. But I can tell you that they have failed woefully. They have failed, and they know. It is just a matter of time. The Supreme Court will lay to rest this issue and to confine Edozie Njoku to where he rightfully belongs, which is oblivion. And that's why I always like using the phrase, the aphorism of the former national chairman, where he stated, and now I've come to understand why he has convictedly made that statement, that Edozie Njoku does not exist. Yeah. He has never existed in Apga. Forget the very brief stint that he's enjoying as a result of the misadventure of INEC. Yes, let him enjoy. It's just for a short while. Thank you very much and remain blessed.